Okay, so I want to make this video. This is kind of like going over, like, God gave me deliverance over partying and drugs and all that, and I'm excited to make this video because I'm gonna go over stuff that I haven't really necessarily opened up to like other people, and it's interesting to me because like I get to tell like, it's kind of it's definitely a part of my testimony, but I'm gonna enjoy like going over stuff that I've never really told like anyone and like not a lot of people, and it's just I'm just like praise God, bro. Like this is I'm so happy. Like drugs got introduced to me like at such a young age, like I've said before in my some of my other videos, and like what blows my mind also is like the devil try like God was chasing me as much as the devil wanted me. And like the way I know that is because those all the stuff that I've been exposed to at such a young age, like the access of drugs I've been exposed to at such a young age, like it's crazy. And for me to like want to live for God and like get saved and like serve God, like that blows my mind. But like going straight into it, like like I grew up. My parents were split. I have an older brother. He's 2 years older than me, and through my brother, like being through my brother in high school, he got introduced to drugs, and through the people that he met, my brother started selling drugs, like in my house. Like I think it's funny because like me and my brother were like polar opposites. Like people say we don't look alike, but nah, they tripping. That's my brother. I mean, like I said, like polar opposites. Like that, I guess you could say that's like an inside joke. But yeah, like my brother was more like the go out and like popular, like go party, do all this crazy stuff, and I was kind of just one like, oh, I'm gonna stay home, like chill. I'm gonna go to kickbacks, like I'm gonna hang out with my friends. Like that's what I am. That's who I am, and I wasn't necessarily popular either, but what I laugh at is like bro, like I was in seventh grade playing Xbox. I was playing GTA. I was playing Minecraft with my friends on Xbox. Like, yeah, bro, let's stay up this weekend. And like, I grew up in a trap house, and I was playing Xbox like with my friends. Like, and I didn't choose that. I didn't pursue that. Like, I'm not flexing. Like, what I'm trying to say is like people will start smoking and doing all these drugs, and they're like, oh, I want to pursue selling drugs and then flex this. Like, bro, like I was playing Minecraft, and like there was grade A felony drugs like in my house, like, and I didn't care, and I didn't want I didn't think that was a flex. Like that's what blows my mind. And like another thing is like, bro, I remember the day my brother told me, he was like, hey, bro, like, I'm gonna start partying. Like, I'm gonna start going out to parties. I'm gonna go to all these parties and drink. And like, I smoke this, like all this stuff. And he was just telling me that he was starting to go out more so that I wouldn't tell my dad. But he didn't really tell me like what he was like specifically doing. So I was just like, I was like, okay, like, dang, bro, you're crazy. Like, oh, that's cool. And like, I didn't really care. Well, and like I said, like, this is me in seventh grade. And then like eighth grade, like I started drinking like with my friends. And it was rarely though. Like it was like, it was something that I opened the door to. Like I started drinking. I remember being in eighth grade in my English class with one of my friends. My friend had vodka in a water bottle, and we were drinking it. Like, bro, to do that at such a young age, like, that's crazy. Like, like, it blows my mind, like, to think that I did that. But, I mean, everyone has done their own things at a certain age. But, anyways, that was my eighth grade. And then my freshman year, that's whenever I started, like, probably, like, the summer of eighth grade. Like after eighth grade, that summer, my brother would go out, and I literally remember playing Xbox with my friends like late, and my brother would be like, "Hey, bro," it's like 1 in the morning. And he's like, "Hey, bro, can you go in my room under my dresser and like get my scale, get this bag, get like." He would say get all these drugs because he was gonna go sell them or go do whatever. And like that blows my mind because I never flexed this. Like, bro, I would play GTA. I'll play GTA with my friends, and I'll be like, "Hey, bro, I'll be right back. I'm gonna go get a snack." And I would, I would get up and go and get all my brother's stuff, and go and give it to him. Like, bro, like, like that blows my mind, bro. Like, and then my freshman year, my freshman year, yeah, my freshman year, my brother. I remember my brother. Let's see, trying to get the timeline. Yeah, so in eighth grade, like the summer of eighth grade when that was happening, I literally also remember two of my friends. I had a sleepover at my house, two of my friends, and we would stay up all night playing Xbox. And I remember, I remember that day up the next day, I showed one of those friends, my brother, like some weed that my brother had, and it was like it wasn't no like Ziploc bag, like this was like a dispensary like mason jar, like it was a lot of weed. And I remember I showed one of my friends that, and like they that friend was like, "Oh, like dang, bro, that's crazy, like I've never seen that before." And like what blows my mind is like I grew up knowing, like for me to grow up from that point on where I showed that friend weed, and to see all the things that he started doing and the things that he got himself into, like I opened the door for that man on the stuff, half the stuff that he did, on the everything. And it, like that put something on my heart, like when I got saved. Like this is kind of just going off, but real quick, like that's crazy. Like when you open doors for someone, like that was a stumbling block. That was something that I put on that man's life for him to experience. And that's crazy because, bro, like I was 8 years old, or not 8 years old, I was in eighth grade, and I showed him that blows my mind. But yeah, anyways, like moving on, for the summer of eighth grade going into freshman year, like my brother was selling drugs out my house. Like I'll still be at home playing Xbox before my dad got off work. And like my brother would bring two people in, random people, bring people in, they would dip, bring people in, they would dip. And like I remember one time, like I said, one of my other videos, my brother brought two people in that have been around for like maybe a couple weeks, and my brother took a shower and left them, like he left them like unsupervised in my house, and I was playing Xbox. Bro, like my freshman year, bro, like bro, these big old dudes, bro. Like I'm talking like big old dudes, bro. Like taller than me, way taller than me. And they ended up stealing stuff from my house, like my dad's room. And like I said in one of my other videos, I remember one of them was like watching me in the way my room was set up is like the door you could see like my dad's door, and he was there. I saw both of them go in there, and one was at the door like watching me, and like he was like he knew that I knew what they were doing, and like they were there probably for like maybe a couple minutes, and then they dipped. They both left. They didn't wait on my brother to get out of the shower. They didn't hit my brother up. They didn't do nothing. They just dipped right after whatever they took. They just dipped. And what's crazy is bro, I experienced that at a young age, like to go through that blows my mind. But moving on, like my freshman year, I started going out more with my friends. I started drinking more, and I started smoking, and I kind of stopped drinking a lot, like as much as I did my freshman year. But moving into my sophomore year, I started smoking a lot, and I started like smoking was kind of like my go-to thing. Like I started smoking with my friends, and I kind of was the one that, like, I was a fiend, bro. Like I was the one that would be like, "Hey, bro, like let's smoke this weekend. Let's go. Like let's chill. Let's like no matter what we do this weekend, let's smoke, cause like that I need that." And what's crazy is like all my friends, like they're kind of like, "Oh yeah, bro, like let's go party, let's go drink and all that," but they were never really into drugs. Like they were never really like interested in doing like crazy stuff. And I remember like I was introduced, like my brother selling all these drugs. Like I remember the first time I tried coke, I was 16, and my brother had first time I seen an 8 ball. My brother was cutting it up, and like I remember, like he gave me some, and I tried it, and like that's crazy, bro. Like to be young and to do something like that, like, but what blew my mind is like I was wanting to do all this crazy stuff, but I never thought it was crazy because I grew up around it and I grew up easy access to it. And so like all my friends were like, bro, like you always want to do all this like crazy stuff, like there's something wrong with you. And I'm like, bro, nah, like it's not that bad. It's cool. But like little did I know, my sophomore year I just started smoking a lot, and I never really intended to sell anything or never really intended to sell drugs. And like I still, like at this point, like what I laugh at what I laugh at is like my high school years, I was never popular and I would never go out, like I said. And like what's funny is like these popular people, like well, I wouldn't say like popular people, but the party scene, like they would see who I would hang out with, and I would hang out with them like as if like these were my friends. Like I ended up my sophomore to my junior year, I ended up friends with all these drug dealers, and like it was like it was just through people that I knew. Like it wasn't like it's funny because I would hang out with them, and like all these people would be like, dang bro, I didn't know you like to go out or do all this crazy stuff. And I'm like, bro, like where you been at? Like this is I've been doing this. I've been around these people. Like bro, I know this man since I was in elementary, and like we were chilling doing this. Like bro, you met this man because you bought a dime off of him. You bought a couple of bars off of him. Like bro, I knew this man since I was in middle school. Like, and we would chill, like we were hanging out, bro. Like it blew my mind. Like it was just the connection. Like you see these people and like how they represent themselves, that's how people saw them. And they, like people selling, like that's what they do. But then you see me, and I'm like over here, like I don't get out, I don't do all this crazy stuff, and like I'm over here chilling, like I'm cutting it up, like hey bro, like what's up? And like I always thought that was funny because like I actually made a lot more friends through my friends. But it was just like an oxymoron. It was just funny. But anyways, like yeah, I started smoking a lot my sophomore year, and then going to my junior year, like I was saying, I started doing Xanax, and I started doing a lot of pills. And that's whenever my junior year was the year, I think it was the year that my brother had gotten arrested, or he may have gotten arrested the year before that, and then he was on probation and he had stopped smoking, and we started going to church at that point, and he started serving God. So at that point, my relationship with my brother was just cut, like completely. He moved out, and we couldn't relate on the things that we were doing. So from there, it was just kind of like I always follow my brother's footsteps, like in the stuff that I did, even if it's like, oh, I don't do exactly what he does, but like it always led to a point where like I would end up doing it. And like I remember my junior year, I started doing Xanax a lot, and I was smoking so much, bro. Like I started doing Xanax, and what's crazy is like I've done all these drugs, bro. I've done all these drugs, and it was never like, it was always offered to me because the people that I knew were my friends. Like that's what's crazy. And like that's how I know the devil like was always trying to get me as much as God wanted me. Like I was always offered, like bro, I was offered Xanax, I was offered lean, I was offered like codeine, I was offered I smoke weed. I was offered coke. I was offered acid. I was offered like everything that I said like I have done because I was offered it. And that's what blows my mind. Like I never went out of my way to go and get these things. Like bro, people who love to party and drink and do all this stuff, Like, they go out and buy them with their own money, and even like a lot of money too. That's a stupid thing. They go out and buy all this stuff and go to parties and do it just for the sake of the experience and the purpose. And for me, like, bro, the people in my grade, or the people like high school, that's literally what it is. Like, oh, let's go do this crazy stuff. And like, for me, I'm just like, bro, like, what's up, bro? Like, hey, bro, I got this for you. Like, you want to try it? Oh yeah, sure, bro. Like, it was given to me. Like, I wasn't. It was never like, oh yeah, bro. Like, it's whatever. Like, bro, I like all these people that I know, bro. The people that I grew up with, like, it's sad, bro. Like, but bro, I remember before I even got my license, my permit, I was hanging out with one of my friends, and my friend was from Ozona. He moved here, and I met him my freshman year, and we would always play Xbox and everything. And sure enough, like, I'm hanging out, and this man's like, yeah, bro, like, my grandpa, he runs this. It wasn't his grandpa, it was his uncle. Yeah, it was Theo. His Theo ran this mechanic shop, and he was telling me how his his Theo laundered drugs through that place, through that shop, and he would sell, like two of these drugs. He would sell. I mean, I don't want to be specific about it, but that, like, bro, I met this man at school. We would hang out. We would go ride bikes, and we would play Xbox. Like, we would play Forza. We would play Xbox together, bro. Like, I met this man through a friendship at school and not through drugs. So can you only imagine, like, the things that, like, to this day, like, I feel bad, bro, because, like, I know where he's at right now, and I know the things he's done. I know the things that he's been through, and it breaks my heart because, bro, like, this was a kid, bro. Like, I used to hang out with this man, like, bro, he was my age, like, he was my friend, bro. And what blows my mind is through that friendship, like, I had met someone who can get me drugs. And I have smoked with him before. And, like, that stuff like that blows my mind. Like, the first time I ever tried Xanax, it was through my friend that I had made. And it was for, like, bro, people go to parties and take these drugs that they buy. Bro, I went to my second period English class, and my friend who I sat next to, this man gave me, he's like, hey, bro, I got you, try this. I just popped one. Bro, like, that's the first time I ever tried Xanax. And, like, from that point on, I started, like, everything. Like, for my junior year was the year that I opened up to, like, everything. Like, I started doing hydros, oxys. I did Xanax for, like, 8 months straight. Like, I did Xanax 8 months straight, 7 days, or 5 to 7 days out of the week, every week. Like, that's an addiction. Like, that Xanax is the one drug that I have taken so much to where I wanted to actually stop taking it, because it was like, Xanax was the one drug where I realized it was an addiction. Like, I had an addiction, and like, people who take Xanax, like, you don't remember stuff the next day, like, after you take it. And I had been taking it for so long, and my tolerance had gone so much. I remember I was taking 1.5 bars or 2 bars every day, and it got to a point, like, where I couldn't remember stuff. Like, I remember one time I went to Walmart after I was working out, and I was gonna get some protein stuff, and I drove to Walmart, got out of my truck, went into Walmart, and walked probably halfway through Walmart, and I could not remember. I didn't know what I was doing there. And I was just like, I legitimately got mad, because I was like, what, like, why did I come here? And then I forgot. What made me more concerned is, like, I got anxious because I couldn't remember what I was going to do after I left Walmart. Like, obviously, like, I had all motor function, but in my mind, I'm just like, what was I going to do? Like, why did I come to Walmart, and what was I going to do when I went home? Like, it didn't make sense to me. So, and, like, that was, like, an every other day thing. Like, so at that point, I stopped, like, I did stop taking Xanax, but moving into senior year, I was still smoking consistently. And my senior year is the year that God really like found me, and I started going to church consistently, and I wanted to start serving God. And but my senior year was the year that I was living on two sides of the fence. I was living a lukewarm life. I would go to church, and I would hide the fact that I went out and drank with my friends. And like ultimately, what ended up happening is I kept these friendships. I kept these friendships where I would smoke and do all this crazy stuff with them, and I would substitute drinking with those friends, and it ultimately led me to doing the things that I didn't want to do. Like that's how I ended up taking acid, and like I would never. That's one of the drugs that I would never be tempted or ever want to do again. Like I did not enjoy doing acid, and for the one friend that I did it with, you see this video, you don't know, but nah, like that, it's crazy, bro. Like I was doing all this stuff, and like when I found God, and when God found me, like it's crazy, bro. Like my senior year, like what gave me revelation is like the devil will not care what you do. Like the devil will not care what you do until you realize you want to change and start serving God, and then he'll get pissed, and he'll start doing everything he can, and he'll start making all this crazy stuff happen. And I know that for a fact because I was going to church, and I was smoking still, and I was getting prayed for, and I was feeling convicted to stop smoking. And the moment I had stopped smoking, the moment I tried to stop smoking, I remember we had a rally my senior year, and all the kids went outside, and I remember coming back inside, and I remember going to the bathroom, bro. Like I literally went to the bathroom, and one of my friends was in that bathroom, and out of all the odds, that friend was in the bathroom. And I grew up with them, and it was one of my other friends that had sold a lot of the bad drugs, I want to say. Like he didn't sell weed, but he sold a lot of other stuff. And like I remember this man offered me like two dimes of coke. Like that's crazy. Like, I literally went to the bathroom, and I got offered coke, and not a little, like, not a, oh, come on, bro, let's hit this. Like, bro, this man pulled out an 8-ball, and then gave, like, he had bags separate from that 8-ball, and gave me like 2.5 dimes. Like, and he was like, bro, you have this, bro. Like, I got too much of this, bro. And honestly, like, I don't really want it. It's just kind of like me. This is my stash, like, of going to parties and all that. And I was like, bro, that's crazy, bro. Like, I got to go back to class. And I was like, all right, like, I'll take it. And what blows my mind is, like, I hit up one of my other friends who had sold coke, and he actually was like, hey, bro, can you give me a ride? I'll cut you some more, and, like, you can have some more. I'll give you this and that. Like, bro, I got like 4 dimes of coke for free, for nothing. Bro, I got all these drugs. I got all this for nothing, bro. And I actually did end up selling all that. And at that point, that opened a door for me to think, like, dang, like, I can get Xanax super easy. Should I start selling that too? And, like, at this point, this is when I was realizing, like, dang, bro, I'm pursuing that. Like, if I did start doing that, I'm pursuing that. And I didn't want that. I didn't want to do that. I didn't want that on myself. And, like, what blew my mind is, like, I realized, like, this is what my brother's doing. Like, my brother got arrested. My brother got a felony. He got cleared record after he started serving God. Like, and what is this going to ultimately lead me to? And so I was like, yeah, bro, I need to calm down. And pretty much, like, it's so crazy, bro. I had I kept partying pretty much, and drinking was kind of my last my last thing that I had to deal with, which is crazy because drinking was like my first thing that I started with. And you know, like high school is rough, I guess you could say, for most people, you know, that are, for most people that don't serve God, like it's memorable, and I mean, it's everything that they want. It's everything that they want to do for just, you know, self-serve, self-righteous. But it blows my mind because like this is something that I never flexed this growing up. Like I never started flexing this until like it really got to me. Like where my senior year, I started really talking about it, and like people would be like, "Oh yeah, bro, like oh he's just whatever, like he's been smoking since last year. That's whenever I hang out with them or whatever." Like nah, bro, like bro, I bro, like I grew up in a house that had drugs in it all the time, bro. Like at such a young age, that's crazy. But pretty much like what happened is like, you know, like it took me so many times to fall, and I just eventually, you know, like I kept praying. I started praying, and everything just like everything set me free. I didn't have the desire to smoke no more, especially after my brother got arrested. I didn't have the desire like I stopped like I stopped a lot of things pretty much after I graduated, but it was kind of just like a reality check. And like a lot of people will say like, oh, like that's what people do. People will stop doing whatever after high school, but nah, like for me it's way more than that, bro, because I was like I grew up in that. Like bro, I'll never forget, bro. That time, when I had that coke, I offered it to probably like 4 or 5 of my friends, and none of them wanted it. And like, was what blows my mind is that a year later, you know, like these people are doing it. Like, they're doing it. They're like drinking, doing all this crazy stuff now. And I don't make like what doesn't make sense is like, why, like for what? Like, you're a hypocrite. Like, you didn't do all this stuff. You want to do all this stuff now that you think you have free authority, but like you don't, like it's not the answer. Like, you're not gonna be happy from doing all that stuff. Like, I don't know. People end up homeless. People die because of drugs, and like it's right in front of their face. And it was in front of my face whenever I did all of it, but people are just want to self-serve, like self-righteous. They want to do all this stuff for themselves and for their image, and that blows my mind, bro. Like my friends that I grew up with, I offer this stuff for free, and it wasn't just, you know, like it wasn't just it was the experience. It was the thing that I offered to hang out, and they rejected it, and yet here they are like a year later, and I'm drinking with them, or I'm still drinking, and like they're over here at a party, and I seen them, and they're doing like coke, they're doing all these drugs, and that made me upset because I was doing all these drugs, and they didn't want to do it with me, and I get saved, I stopped doing all these drugs, but relationships mean everything to me, friendships mean everything to me. So I got you, bro. I grew up with you. I'm gonna go party with you. I'm a Christian now. I'm gonna drink. But yet here they are like, "Oh, bro, like I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do a line. I'm gonna like they're doing all this crazy stuff." But I'm like, "Bro, that's messed up. Like I was, you could have done that with me. Like I offered that for free to you, bro." And like they're like, "Well, I don't know, bro. I just didn't want to do it then." And I'm like, "Bro, that's messed up, bro. Like that blows my mind. Like I'm over here trying to keep these friendships with people by drinking, by not serving God, living on two sides of the fence, and ultimately they're the ones bringing that stuff that I wanted to get away from around me again." So that was a decision I had to make when I wanted to serve God. Like, you need to cut all these friends loose. And sure enough, like, it was difficult for me. And some of them I didn't even cut loose. Like, they cut loose on me. So, I mean, I guess, like, it is what it is. But I'm thankful. There's so much that happened in my life that God has done, and like I'm so thankful. But pretty much to wrap this video up, like a lot of people won't know like what I went through. Like I grew up in a house of drugs. I say it's a trap house, not literally a trap house, but I have stayed the night in a trap house before, by the way, which is that's funny. But like it just blows my mind, bro. Like I'll meet people, and talk to them about like partying and all that, and they're like, yeah, like like I would talk to them about partying, and like they'll know my background. They'll know like I serve God, and they're just like, well, what do you know? Like, why do you want to talk to me about this? And I'm just like, bro, you have no idea. Like, you have no idea, bro. Like that's a funny thing, but like I praise God. Like praise God. I'm so glad I'm delivered. It's a miracle that I have a clean record. That I have not been arrested. I don't got no misdemeanors. I don't got no felonies. It's a miracle, honestly. I was walking around 2 years of my high school years. I was walking around school with drugs on me, and like the people that see this, that know me in high school, like my friends I grew up, like God has a plan for you and I, just the same way, and you're like there's hope for everyone. And like for the people that see this video that know me and they think that I'm crazy now, like, oh no, like, nah, bro, like this is real. Like I opened my senior year, that's whenever I opened the door to all that witchcraft stuff, and like that moment in my life, like that really moved me away from doing drugs too. But nah, like people who will see this, like I straight up, bro, I would straight up say like I never pursued selling drugs, and I was never a drug dealer, but I was always like drugs always found a way to me, and I grew up around it. And like the fact that like it's funny because like I never wanted to be around all that until it was always around me. And like you leave like the proof is in the pudding. Like the people I grew up with, the friends that I know, you could ask them. But no, yeah, like I praise God. I thank God for setting me free. But that pretty much is my deliverance. Like I was heavy into partying. I mean, not partying, but drugs and stuff that they do at parties. The sole purpose, like people do all this crazy stuff. Like they graduate high school, they go to college, do all this stuff. Like it's not worth it. It's not the answer. You want to gain memories off of that? You want to waste a couple years of your life? Like go ahead and do it. You get ask like all these people. Like me, I've been surrounded by drugs at a young age. Like I know what drugs can do to a family. I know what drugs can do to someone. I know what drugs can do. Like you can't hide that forever. My friend that I had grew up with, who I know where he's at now, like he's not in a good place. Like he's not in and out of jail. Like it's crazy. But I hope like God has a plan for everyone. But I hope all works out. Praise God. Thank you for watching.